Welcome to Wildly Capable with Kate, a podcast made for those looking to unleash their wildest capabilities. I'm your host, Kate DeRocher, a dating, relationship, and self-worth coach on a mission to help people build better relationships, starting with the one they have with themselves. In each episode, we'll dig deep, turn inwards, and embark on a transformative journey. Together, we'll break free from unhealthy patterns, rip through self-limiting beliefs, heal past wounds, and build unwavering self-worth, all to create healthier relationships as a result. Get ready to explore the wild, untapped potential within you. Are you ready to see just how wildly capable you are? Subscribe now and join us on this empowering adventure. Remember, your wildest capabilities await. Hi everyone, welcome to Wildly Capable with Kate, the podcast made for those looking to unleash their wildest capabilities. I'm your host, Kate DeRocher, and I'm a dating, relationship, and self-worth coach who's on a mission to help you build better relationships, starting with the one that you have with yourself, inside of you. I'm here to help you break through any old patterns or wounds or self-limiting beliefs that are holding you back from having the love in the life that you are so desperately dreaming of. Before we get started in this podcast episode, which is going to be all about the psychology of attraction, I want to first tell you about an amazing retreat that I'm hosting this Labor Day weekend in Dripping Springs, Texas. It's going to be a 3-day retreat. 10 women are invited. There are only 5 spots left, so we are about 50% full. And we're going to be focusing on healing and shedding things that are no longer for us, and stepping into all that we are created to be, all that we are capable of. It's called the Wildly Capable for Women's Retreat, and I would love to have some of you ladies listening to this podcast join. It's going to be an incredible group of women, powerful women, who have decided to be more, who've decided to step into what they were created to be. And we're going to go horseback riding. We're going to do yoga. We're going to do a sound bath. We're going to have different guests come and speak to us. I'm going to be leading talks about dating and relationships and self-worth. I'm going to be teaching you how to step into your wild woman, which is the idea that women were created for so much good and have so much power within us, but we often forget, or we don't know how to use that power for beauty and for good. So I'm going to guide you on that journey. I'm going to guide you on the wild woman archetype. And I'm going to teach you how to release old hurts, how to move past old pains, and create the life that I know you're dreaming of. So if you are interested, head to my website, coachkatederocher.com, to get more information. And by listening to this podcast, you get 10% off the retreat. So use code RETREAT and sign up now. Snag your spot before they're all gone. And I will see you in a couple months, August 30th through September 2nd in Texas. Come join us. It's going to be absolutely life-changing, and I can't wait to meet you. All right, so like I was saying, today I want to talk about the psychology of attraction. And the psychology of attraction encompasses many different factors as to why we're attracted to who we are. But I'm not going to talk about every single one of those factors. I want to talk specifically about physical attraction, about appearance, about looks. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I see so many clients, so many people and just friends in my life who struggle with opening up to or creating relationships with people who they don't feel as attracted to as they want to, who are putting physical appearance above everything else when it comes to determining who is a healthy match for you. That's why I want to talk about this. If you are somebody who always goes for the same type, if you're always dating blondes, or you only date guys who are tall or guys who have a certain career, if you're putting very specific traits like age, hair color, even job above everything else, then this episode is for you specifically. So I know in my own life, I kept going for the same type of guy. I liked guys with dark hair who were very ambitious, tall. Obviously, what woman doesn't go for that? It's a problem that we should work on. But I went for very specific things. And most of those relationships, not all, but most of those relationships ended up being a dead end. Or even worse, they ended up being unhealthy. And they weren't unhealthy because the guy had dark hair. They were unhealthy because we weren't a match, or because there were traumas and hurts within both of us that hadn't been worked through, they were unhealthy for those reasons, not because of appearance. But what was happening is I was missing those unhealthy traits, those red flags, because I was so focused on appearance. And in the end, that type, focusing on that appearance, led me to a lot of bad situations and led me to a lot of heartbreak. And I don't want to see that happen for you. Those things don't matter in the end, not as much as we often think that they do. In the end, it is somebody's character and integrity. It's their personality that will carry you through the hard things in life, the hard things that a relationship and a marriage inevitably brings. It is truly inevitable. You guys will have conflict. There will be difficulties. Life will throw curveballs at you, things you never expected. Difficult things happen. And if you two don't have the compatibility, if you two don't have the character and aren't focused on growth with each other, then no matter how beautiful you are, you're probably not going to make it through. You have to lay a healthy foundation. You have to be with somebody who is full of integrity, who says what they say they're going to do, who doesn't do harmful things. And when they do mess up, they hold themselves accountable and they work to grow. That is the person that you will get to your final days with, not somebody who is just really good to look at. Maybe there's definitely obviously amazing people who are beautiful and also have incredible character that very much so exists. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I am saying that if you are so focused on their looks, you will miss the other things that are more important. So to start, let me explain what the psychology of attraction even is. So like I said, the psychology of attraction, it's multifaceted. It encompasses numerous different theories and factors that play a role in contributing to why we are drawn to the people that we're drawn to, why we find certain people to be attractive over other people. So the first of these factors, the one that we're going to be focusing on the most, is physical attractiveness. So this is often the first thing that draws people to each other. You know, when we meet somebody, we take them in with our eyes. We perceive them first through what we can see. In evolutionary psychology, it suggests that physical attractiveness, it signals, positive things like good health, that you guys will be a fit to have children together. There is some science behind why who we find attractive based on looks. So in that way, it's not all bad. However, it can become something negative when it's all that we focus on, and we'll get to that even more. The next factor that plays a role into who we find to be attractive and who we don't is similarity. So people are often attracted to those who share similar attitudes and values and interests and backgrounds as them. It can create a sense of familiarity and comfort, and it leads to stronger connections. So we go for people who remind us of ourselves, in all honesty. Number 3 is proximity. It is just the fact that we are exposed to them, that we see them, that we're around them. Those people who we are living life with, who we are exposed to frequently, we often develop attraction to. There may even be somebody in your friend group, for example, who off the bat you were not attracted to them, but because you've spent more and more time with them, you're starting to see them in a different light. People develop feelings for who they interact with regularly. It's just a fact. I quite literally had to just look up how to pronounce the next word. The next on the list is reciprocity. I said it right. So when somebody expresses interest in us, we become more interested in them. When somebody seems to be drawn to us, they are pursuing us, it plays a big role in who we're attracted to in return. And I will also say that human psychology, human behavior also does the exact opposite. Where if there's somebody who is not reciprocating their interest in us, we tend to be interested in them. We want what we can't have. So that kind of goes both ways. We go for the people who are interested in us. We start to find them more attractive because they are giving us the attention that we want. And we go for people who will not give us that attention no matter how hard we seem to try because we want what we can't have. Just human behavior, for better or for worse. Next up on the list as to why we may or may not be attracted to somebody is personality. So while physical appearance obviously initially attracts us to somebody, it's often somebody's personality, like how kind they are, how funny they are, how intelligent they are, that is crucial for maintaining attraction over time. So like I said at the start, looks don't carry us through the long haul. It is character and personality and things like that that will play a bigger role. So if you are with the most beautiful person in the world, but as time goes on, as you keep dating them, you start to just see how boring they are or how mean they are, chances are you're going to stop being so attracted to them. Hopefully, if you are in a healthy place at least. And I've seen this one at play in my life so many times where yes, I kept going for a certain type of man, like what I deemed to be physically attractive. But I also went for a type of guy that was funny. I love the funny guy. I love the guy with a big personality. That sort of man really appealed to me too. So I can remember there was a guy back in college. He was just the best. Still to this day, I think very highly of him. He just was so funny. Like, he wasn't necessarily my type physically, but his personality really drew me to him. He was always cracking jokes. He was always making things lighthearted and fun. I felt really carefree with him. It was a great dynamic because of his personality. So his personality, more so than his looks, really drew him to me. Next up is chemistry. And I've done a whole podcast episode on chemistry versus compatibility. It was one of my first podcast episodes. So if you were interested in understanding chemistry further, scroll on back to, I think it was episode 3 and give it a listen. But when it comes to chemistry, there's often this kind of intangible quality that happens between two people where you are just magnetized to each other. There's kind of a spark. You can't really put it into words. You can't really see it, but that's what chemistry is. It's intangible and it's felt. This can include nonverbal cues. It can include body language, eye contact, just same sense of humor and emotional and intellectual connection. That's what chemistry is. I've also been drawn to men that I had a lot of chemistry with. I've talked about this guy before, but there was a guy in my life back in like 2019 who we just really, really clicked with each other. And because we really clicked, I was like, oh my gosh, he must be the one. Like, he feels so familiar to me. There was so much chemistry. But in the end, just like physical appearance doesn't pull you through, chemistry did not pull our relationship through. And when we discovered the differences in our beliefs or in the way that we thought about things, the relationship fell apart. Because yes, we had a lot of chemistry, but we did not have compatibility. So to better understand, again, head to my other episode about chemistry versus compatibility to get a full understanding of why I believe compatibility is more important in the end than chemistry. But chemistry plays a big role in why we are attracted to who we are attracted to. Next, and I know you all know I love to talk about this, is attachment styles. So attachment theory suggests that our early experiences with our parents or caregivers influences our attachment style in relationships, and it influences who we're attracted to later in life. So as you know, as you've probably heard me talk about, or as you've researched on your own, because attachment theory is becoming more and more prevalent and more popular today, somebody who is securely attached, they have healthy, stable relationships. While somebody who's insecurely attached, either they lean towards anxious or avoidant attachment, they have more difficulty in forming and maintaining connections. And oftentimes what happens is we are attracted to the person who has the exact opposite attachment style as us, if we fall within the insecure attachment category. People with secure attachments tend to be more attracted to people with secure attachments because they're able to identify the kind of like behavioral flaws within the people who have avoidant or anxious attachments, and they're not attracted to that. But somebody who has an avoidant attachment style is often attracted to somebody who has an anxious attachment style, and vice versa, because we often attract the exact person that we need to help us heal. They become our mirrors. Somebody with an anxious attachment style sees somebody with an avoidant attachment style who's extremely withdrawn and pulls away and extremely independent, while the anxiously attached person, is a little bit more clingy. They need more reassurance. They need more closeness. So we see the exact opposite in the other person, and it helps us see, oh, maybe I can release some of these anxious tendencies a little bit more. And in reverse, it forces us to heal. It forces us to notice our own patterns. Because as somebody who has an anxious attachment style knows, when I am with somebody who's more avoidant, it brings out my anxiety 10 times more than somebody who is securely attached would. And then I am forced to look at myself and say, oh, wow, there's some things there that we need to work on. So opposites attract. We attract what we need to heal. And that can lead to a lot of difficulties, a lot of struggles, a lot of breakups and broken hearts. But if you were able to look at it through the lens of, oh, this relationship is here to teach me something, then it's great. Then it's a positive thing. Every relationship is here to teach us. Just went on a little tangent there. That is a total side note of what we're talking about. But in short, our attachment style affects who we are attracted to for good reasons and sometimes for unhealthy reasons that need to be looked at. And last but not least is cultural influences. So cultural norms and expectations that our families and our backgrounds put on us, they influence who we go for, who we're attracted to, who we're even allowed to be attracted to in a lot of cultural situations. So what is considered attractive and desirable can vary significantly across different cultures and societies. It also can play a role in how our families raise us and what they expect from us, who they want us to be with. There are cultures who expect their children to be with only somebody who's from their same culture. That often happens in Indian cultures and Jewish cultures. And so it plays a role in who we deem as being right for us, as who we go for, as who we date. So our culture and our background also plays a huge role in the psychology of attraction. So, okay, I just listed 8 different examples and explanations and components as to what causes us to be attracted to certain people and not to others. Some of those things are great and healthy things. Some of those things should play a big role. And some of those things we maybe can release and not pay so much attention to, not put so much weight on. And the one that I'm referring to most here is physical attractiveness. Like I said at the start, so many of us go for somebody who we deem to be attractive, who we think just looks amazing. They have a great body. Their face is beautiful, all the things. We go for that. We pay more attention to that than we do to who the person actually is, who they are at their core, who they are when nobody's looking. Those are the things that matter. Those are the things that shape somebody. Not their looks, not their hair color, not how white their teeth are. Those things can be changed. You know, somebody's style and their appearance, it can be improved. But character, personality, those things are a lot more set in stone. It's a lot harder to change those things. Not impossible. I believe everybody is capable of changing. I have transformed my life in more ways than I can count, but it did take a while and it's hard and not everybody's willing to do that hard work. So when you meet somebody, I want you to start to, yes, of course you need to be attracted to them. There needs to be an element of attraction and chemistry. But what's more important is if you two are compatible. If you two have the integrity and the character that will pull you through the difficulties that will come with your relationship, because they will come. Like I said, it is truly inevitable. Every relationship has hiccups and speed bumps. And your ability to work together as a team, the way you are focused on growth with one another, the way you call one another to be better, that is more important. And that is from your character. So pay attention to that, even more than you pay attention to physical appearance. To help you better understand what I'm talking about, I'm going to tell you the story of my own relationship. So I first met Bobby back in 2021. I always get this confused, either 2021 or 2022, in a bar in Venice Beach, California. And I went into that night thinking, okay, I'm just going to focus on my girlfriends tonight. I'm not interested in talking to any guys. Like I'm not here for that. I'm over it. I'm over dating. I'm over men. I just want to be with my girlfriends. So I didn't even put that much effort into my own appearance. My hair was slicked back. I was wearing like an old, outdated outfit. I wasn't looking my best, but I went because I didn't care, because I was there for my girlfriends and that's it. And when I walked into that bar, I turned and I saw Bobby. I didn't know who he was at the time, but I saw Bobby sitting at a booth in the corner of the bar. And I remember looking at him and just feeling this insane pull to him. There was just like this instant feeling of, I want to know who that is. And that was interesting for me because Bobby is not my physical type at all. Like I told you in the beginning, I go for dark hair, things like that. Bobby has like light brown, I think it's red. He disagrees with me, but slightly red hair. He just isn't my normal type. But still, the moment I looked at him, something drew me to him. I felt this intense energy between us. And eventually, throughout the night, we did end up talking. And now here we are, 2 years later, 2.5 years later. and an amazing and beautiful and healthy relationship, living together in Texas with our 2 dogs. So many great things in our relationship have happened since then, but they would have never happened if I still was so focused on physical appearance. If I never gave somebody who wasn't my exact type the chance to show me who they are, for me to get to know them, for them to get to know me. Had I just said, oh, Bobby doesn't match what I'm looking for physically, I would have missed out on this incredible, respectful, healthy, safe relationship that I'm in now. What draws me to Bobby? What attracts me to Bobby? Not only is it his looks, but it's so much deeper than that. It's who he is. It's the person that he is, the man that he is. It is his character, his heart, his integrity, the way he makes me feel safe and cared for. All of that has been so much more important than any of the old things that I used to be too focused on. Like I've said, Bobby and I went through a breakup at one point in our relationship, and we would not have come out of the other side of that breakup stronger than we were before it had we not been compatible, had we not had the healthy traits that I'm talking about here. Had we just been drawn to each other, had there just been chemistry, we were just looking for physical traits, we would have never come out of that breakup. We would have never made it through that difficult period. But we did. We did. And I believe that we did because of our character and because of our willingness to grow and because of our ability to hold ourselves accountable when we mess up. Those things mended our relationship. Those things pulled us through. Our looks never would have. So, to anybody who's listening to this, who just can't seem to break their type, who just keeps going for the same type of person, the same physical traits, the same physical appearance, I'm not saying you are completely wrong. You do need to be attracted to whoever you're with, but I do want you to release it just a little bit and give somebody else a chance, because that somebody else may be exactly what you've been dreaming of and praying for, and you just cannot see it because you were holding on so tightly to physicality, so tightly to physical appearance. But you don't have to listen to just me. Let's look into what science actually says. So according to Psychology Today, the longer a couple knows each other, the less important physical attractiveness becomes for maintaining a long-term relationship. Check. That's exactly what I was talking about there. There it is. Even psychologists, even research says the same thing. On top of that, a study published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology says that while physical attractiveness predicted initial relationship satisfaction, its importance decreased over time. And then factors like emotional intimacy, communication quality, conflict management, shared values, those things became so much more critical, so much more important in predicting the long-term success and satisfaction of relationships. Things like respect and trust and reliability, all of those things become more important as time goes on. Let me keep going. A study published in the Journal of Evolution and Human Behavior found that physical attractiveness was particularly important for short-term mating preferences, with individuals placing greater emphasis on attractiveness when considering potential short-term partners compared to long-term partners. So if you're just looking for a hookup buddy for somebody to have fun with, then yeah, physical attractiveness will be the most important thing. But for somebody who's ready to actually settle down and to build a partnership, a lifelong partnership, the actual other traits, the character of a person, the heart of a person ends up mattering more. And last but not least, another study published in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that while physical attractiveness decreases over time, emotional intimacy and commitment negates that decline. It replaces that physical attractiveness and it becomes more important. It helps you maintain the relationship even when your physical attraction to one another starts to dwindle, because it will dwindle. You will get to know one another more and more. You will see each other's flaws and quirks and annoying qualities. You will also, just as you get older, lose your attractiveness. We all become ugly with time. Like we get old, we do. And if that's the only thing that you're focused on is somebody's looks, then yes, you will not make it to the end. But if you are focused on the emotional connection, the intimacy, the safety, the security within your relationship, the mutual respect within your relationship, then those looks will start to not play such an important part. As they decline, the things that are more important will replace physical attractiveness. Looks fade, but character remains. So this is your sign. Next time you go on a date, next time you're starting to get to know somebody, and next time you're swiping on Hinge or whatever dating app you use, don't just pay attention to their looks. Start to pay attention to their words, their actions, the heart of who they are. Get to know them deeply. Pay attention to those things because that's what will create a lasting, healthy, beautiful relationship, not their looks. I hope this message hits the right ears. I hope it gives you the inspiration and the confirmation that you need to just try somebody new, to give somebody else a chance. And you just may end up creating the most beautiful relationship for yourself. So let me know how that goes. Let me know if you're able to put this into practice. Reach out to me on Instagram at Coach Kate DeRocher. Or if you are interested in coaching and you want to work through some of these things, if you want to work through the old patterns and the way of thinking that I've talked about throughout this episode and at the start, then head to my website, CoachKateDeRocher.com, fill out my coaching application, and we'll get started. We'll start to break through all of those things. And remember that by listening to this podcast, you are invited and you get 10% off of my Wildly Capable for Women's Retreat happening this Labor Day weekend in Dripping Springs, Texas. Use code RETREAT at checkout, again on my website, CoachKateDeRocher.com, and I will see you over Labor Day weekend, August 30th through September 2nd, for an incredible, transformative weekend focused on growth and healing. I can't wait to meet you. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please make sure that you rate, like, and subscribe to this podcast so I can get this out to more and more people. This is such a passion project for me, and I'm excited to see where it goes. So your support means more than you could ever imagine. So please like this, rate it, subscribe, send it to your friends. Anybody who needs to hear this, please send it on over. And thank you so much for your support.